This cozy club has no moral responsibility, Atul Vasan?
Cozy club.
This cozy club has no moral responsibility, Atul?
All boys network.
I thought the BCCI constitution says the BCCI president is the overarching authority.
Yeah. Well, Arnab, to understand this, you have to understand the timeline. You know, Modi was an outsider, and with MEN, he wanted to bring something. He could not. Then he joined through the Rajasthan connection and came in the board and sold them a dream. And dream became a reality because of certain malafide manipulations which it did. We all know the word on the street was that he has got proxy ownerships of 3 teams. And that was probably the necessity of the time, because nobody was sure at these levels who's going to buy. So he made sure he had 3 or 4 buyers ready. And he was propping them up with his own money, own connections. And when it happened, he became the blue-eyed boy, and he just charging through with the Midas touch, and all the board members were just egging him on, clapping, saying that, oh, he's created something nice, you know. But along the way, the bona fide decision he took turned out to be malified in retrospect, and then the irregularity. So he didn't know how to quit when he was ahead.
Bona fide?
He became brash,
what bona fide decisions?
Started doing
what bona fide decisions? To give away teams, to issue tenders on SMS? That's a bona fide decision?
Yes.
That's the right way to operate?
So he thought he deserved this. Yeah, well, he thought he deserved this autocracy. This is what his mind was. He was brash with the players. Only the coterie was surviving, getting more money. So the system became of everybody just bow down. And because this guy's created something, and the board members also fell in line. And suddenly, there are 2 aspects to it.
So you're supporting Lalit
totally
Modi?
With it, and these 2 guys who have given it. No, not really. I'm supporting the report, and I'm totally with Mr. Jaitley and Jyotiraditya Scindia, because they are the probably only 2 people who will not have a axe to grind or an agenda just to come this out. And
no, you are not asking this because you don't want to ask the difficult question. No. You see, the problem is, Atul Vasan, you don't want to ask the difficult question.
Is that eventually
you want to avoid the difficult question.
One of the problem arose. No, the problem arose when the agencies went after him. The Economic Offence Wing, the ED, the FEMA.
No.
And these were the real problems. And then these problems came to bite the board back.
No. Here you are, Atul Vasan. Atul Vasan, you have tied yourself up in knots. And I'll tell you why. You tied yourself up in knots because you forget.
I've told you the timeline.
No, you forget. You forget. No. Andrew Flintoff. Andrew Flintoff was bought by Chennai for 1.55 million, making him the most expensive player of the time alongside Kevin Peterson. No, 1 sec. Why am I talking about Andrew Flintoff?
Arnab, you must understand. We can discuss all crossing the lines. But he was thinking that he was doing the right thing. He was making rules as he was going along. You understand?
Your entire argument is flawed. Your entire argument is flawed.
Arnab, can I please come in?
Because Lalit Modi says, I was arm twisted to allow Andrew Flintoff to go to Chennai Super Kings. And he says, poor me. These people arm twisted me. I was the little boy. I was not the young, audacious, brash, all-powerful dictator of the IPL. He's, in other words, saying I was that young fellow who was being arm twisted by the bullies in the BCCI. Boria.
Well, in return, he went and arm twisted the Kochi franchises to give it up.
Boria.
That's when the shit hit the fan.
I've been hearing this. I will give you one simple example how saintly Lalit Modi was. A tender document for 2 new teams was drawn up. The governing council was shown, the board was shown. 500-page document, everything approved. After everything was approved, this fellow adds 2 new paragraphs. That's when Shashank Manohar caught him. That's when Shashank Manohar publicly reprimanded him, which Sunil Gavaskar saved him off. That's when this whole scandal came to light. So please, for heaven's sake, don't absolve Lalit Modi. 4 simple points. Financial irregularity.
Who is absolved?
On SMSs.
Who's absolved?
Details.
Who's absolving Lalit Modi?
You're torn apart.
Lots of people.
Who?
I mean, this whole idea that Lalit, was forced by... None of us have any love lost with the board. As I said at the very start, one has gone today. And Lalit says, oh, what I've done, it's all in my website. Nonsense. Nothing is there in his website. He was publicly made to apologize for all the misconduct that he did at that point in time. And it serves him right that Arun Jaitley and Jyotiraditya Scindia, 2 men of impeccable credibility, and I've read that 500-page report, have actually come up with objective, clear-cut findings that nails him once and for all. Now the point is, if he wants to face the music, as Suhail said, come to India, face the music, challenge that report, and face the consequences.
No, what?
Of
No, why are
misconduct.
you so
But
biased?
That doesn't.
Why are you so
absolve the other.
biased against Lalit Modi?
Biased to who?
Why are you so biased against Lalit
Biased in
Modi?
favor of who?
He will come to
You're
India.
biased against Lalit
He
Modi.
will
You see,
come
all
to
of you are
India.
biased and
Absolutely not.
prejudiced.
He is
I am
also
saying-
torn.
No, no.
I'm saying,
All of you.
I'm not
all,
biased.
All of you.
I'm saying one has gone
Only-
today.
I
I'm
only
saying
expect-
one has gone today.
No, no.
Let the other go on the 29th. I'm saying let
I am
the
saying
cleanup
don't be so
start.
biased.
If
Well,
one has gone
I
today,
only
let all of the others go.
expect Mr.
I'm not
Modi
biased
to
in
One
favor
second.
of
What is all this about? No, one second. Please. You see, you're all, and I say this as part of friendly banter. Don't jump on me. You're all biased and prejudiced in your own ways. And in the middle of the screen, there's a man who's emotionally torn, and that's Sohail Seth. The question tonight is this:
Not at
I'm the only unbiased
Not at all.
observer. I declare myself the only unbiased observer
You're
of this
following
tonight.
Goebbels. You're following Goebbels. You keep saying this, people assume I'm torn. I'm not torn at all. I think if Lalit Modi is guilty, hang him. Having said that,
I say
also
tonight-
investigate the silence and the quiet nodding that the BCCI lent Lalit Modi when he was in power and seeming to get the golden eggs for them. That's exactly
use
my
and
point.
throw.
Having said that, I believe Jaitley and Scindia have unimpeachable credibility, so we must
There you
believe
go,
the
you're
report that
balancing
they put
again,
out because they have
Sohail.
more at stake. No, they have more at stake. Tomorrow, if their report is seen to be
Why-
a
why
malafide
don't you?
or
Correct.
their report is seen to be biased, they have more to lose than Lalit Modi or Arnab or Boria
That's
or
the
Atul
point
Basin
I made.
or even Kishore Bhimani. That's the big point, Arnab, and we are
I-
not torn. We are all
That's the
stitched
point
together.
I made at
you
the
are
very
torn
start.
The
today.
board has to.
No,
the
one
board
second.
has to
One
also
second.
save their backside because in that time they were also involved by association also, and they had let this guy who was
Correct.
a loose cannon doing so many things which were unlawful at that time. So now it's gone against Modi as well, but the board also has to sort his papers out with all the authorities. So they
इस
are also
हमाम
trouble,
में
but
Precisely.
काफी नंगे थे इस हमाम में काफी नंगे थे सारे नहीं पर काफी नंगे थे
Arnab, the
Everybody
story
was
is
on the
simple.
gravy train.
Let us
Everybody
put
was enjoying
pressure
the
so
gravy
that
train,
the cleanup happens in totality. Let us get the cleanup done in totality. No one is saying Lalit is the
one
only
second,
culprit.
one second.
Lalit may be one, but there are many others in that
Sohail,
game. So
Sohail-
let us get the cleanup done once and for all for the sake of Indian cricket.
Sohail Seth, who makes a weak attempt to throw the ball in my court by making me a member of Hitler's team, is not in know of some facts, and that includes the fact that the Competition Commission of India, in its probe, and my first question is, was Lalit Modi allowed to appear before the committee, Shishir Ratangani? No. Right? He did not
Yes,
appear.
he appeared via video link.
Oh, he was
He
called
appeared
several
several times.
One sec.
Yes, he did.
And he appeared,
He
or not,
appeared
his lawyer
several times
appeared.
Should I call back Lalit
And he
Modi
was
and
called.
ask
Of
him?
course he was called.
Lalit Modi says.
Of
Or
course
not,
you
this is
should.
the first time.
Lalit
this is the
Modi
first time
says-
I think.
Lalit Modi
this is the
says-
first time I think
Lalit Modi says.
you haven't actually
The
gone
probe
into
has been
detail because
conducted
you.
with utmost integrity.
Absolutely.
I will
They
now
have
get
video
Lalit
links,
Modi
yeah.
back on the phone. One second. I'll get him back on the phone. We can check that fact. We are getting Lalit Modi back on the phone, and the question is, he says, I am an accused, but I was not allowed to appear when it was time for me to appear, and when it was time for me to appear, they had no time for me as they had to finish the report. I was never even allowed to appear before the committee, and he says the tender was not approved, etc., etc., whatever. He's sending me a series of SMSs, so he's watching the news hour right now. I think we suggest we get him on the phone we're getting Lalit Modi. Lalit Modi will get you back on the phone to sort that part out, right? To ask whether you were allowed to appear, whether you could appear, or whether you chose to appear when the report was already finished, and whether the ball is in your court in that front. My question tonight is to Shishir Ratangani. Shishir Ratangani, this is what the Competition Commission said. It said for all its acts of commission and omission, the BCCI cannot be absolved from its responsibility in the process of tendering. In every act that the BCCI has done, the BCCI's simple thing is to pass the buck to Lalit Modi's court. Who believes that? Did Lalit Modi not have Sharad Pawar's backing at one point of time? Did Lalit Modi not have Srinivasan's backing?
Of course, you need backing, otherwise you can't play cricket. And you know, form is a very fickle friend, whether it's in the boardroom or whether it's on the cricket field. He was the Pied Piper of the IPL, you know. He had people, he had a harem of administrators behind him. So let's not forget those days. I mean, yes, He's down and out, and every reason to be down and out. And I see a touch of humility in the way he speaks now. You know, he wasn't so humble in those good old days of the IPL starting. I can tell you that. But you know, life, it's a circle of life. It's happened, and don't rule out a comeback, because it's happened to other players. It's happened to ICL players. It's happened to administrators. It's happened to former cricketers. Because there are no permanent enemies and no permanent friends in the battle of the board. I can tell you that.
So Kishore Bhimani, finally, when he says this is not the end game, this is the start of the game, what is he trying to say there?
Well, it is not the end game. I'd like to preface my remarks by saying that today every person who lived in the reflected glory of Lalit Modi when he was boss, all these people who forgave everything, who overlooked everything, who took their eyes and ears away from it, are now coming out and saying he's responsible. It's the BCCI who prepares the report, washing themselves squeaky clean and saying he's guilty. That is the problem. It's nobody is taking any sides. I'm saying that if Lalit Modi is guilty,
Absolutely.
so are all the mandarins of the board. So are the top people there today. And these people who didn't throw out Srinivasan and are ready to throw him out, I take objection to that.
No, but he's
Because
staying away from the
Srinivasan
country and answer.
did a
He's staying,
lot of wrong things.
he's staying away from the country and answer. He says this is a witch hunt. His repeated attempts to go to the courts have failed. The courts have quashed his petitions. He's wanted for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. They've issued a blue notice, an international alert, Sohail said, to gather more evidence about his whereabouts. He's wanted for the ED for 14 contraventions of the FEMA. Shouldn't he come and face the law? I mean, it's all right, Mr. Modi, and I know you're watching Newshour tonight. It's all right for you.
But
Actually, if you want to come back on the line, we'll connect you back, Mr. Modi. The simple question here is,
No, there are two.
You can sit in London and
are
say
two
that I'm
things.
making a comeback, but the tougher thing is to come to India and face the law. Face the law.
But there are two things
Fight
here.
the courts.
Or
Fight
there
in
are
the
two
courts.
things. There
Yeah.
are two things. Number one, shouldn't the BCCI as an organization which governs cricket in India have certain processes in place? Shouldn't there be due diligence in place? I mean, it's a non sequitur for them not to have discovered the errors or the fallacies or the misdemeanors that Lalit has allegedly made or made. I mean, that in itself says a lot about BCCI's governance model. I mean, BCCI's governance model needs to be overhauled. It can only be done when their presidents are overhauled. I mean, you know, Shirish talked about making a comeback. Whoever imagined Jagmohan Dalmia would come back? I mean, even Jagmohan Dalmia's grandchildren wouldn't have imagined that. But he came back. Trust me, Srinivasan's son-in-law will be cheering
Boria.
from the pit next year in the IPL, and we will all be there to watch and have another debate on the Newshour. That is how thick-skinned some of these guys are.